All right, guys. Well, Tim Storey, Emily Ford, thank you guys so much for being here. Emily, just for our viewers that do not know, you're obviously an entrepreneur. You've worked with countless entrepreneurs in the space, and you've really dedicated your life to making a difference. And it's something that you've really become very open and vulnerable about talking about within mental health. And you talk about shame and how you can change the game within that, right?
Yeah.
And so we also got Tim Storey here, another innovator, somebody that is game changer, obviously world speaker, author. Appreciate you guys both being here to really have a conversation and discuss, mental health and just awareness around that. And, it's something that we are facing as a society. And obviously you guys being thought leaders within that space and in the industry, it's important that we are having this discussion. So I really appreciate you guys being here. And Emily, we just met the other day on your show, which was absolutely fantastic. Can you talk to us a little bit about why you started that show and how that came to light?
Well, I started the It Factor show because I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade.
Yes.
And we can all, figure out what lights us up and companies we want to build. But what I found is so much of it is the mindset. I think even like 80% psychology, for you to go for it, to build the thing.
Right.
And in my journey, I got access to so many incredible people through networking, through building those relationships. And there's just little stories, through talking to people at dinner, through meeting people, that it's just one little thing that I took and I put it in my back pocket and I put it into my business and into what I do. And it has helped me immensely. And so when COVID hit, I was like, I want to be able to serve people on an even bigger level. So that's when I started the show. I'm like, let me just call people up and interview them. And it's really taken on a world of its own.
That's amazing, but it wasn't always like that. Right.
Yeah.
So let's go back. I want to hear a little bit of kind of about the journey that got you to that spot, because Tim and I like to talk about is our greatest deficits can become our greatest assets, right? And I think when you were younger, you had some trials and tribulations that you faced. Do you mind sharing some of those and what that looked like and how you navigated that?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, raised by a single mom. I'm the youngest of three, and we had a lot of hardship. I mean, basically from the time I was born, previously I had a brother who passed under my father's watch, and I was a total accident. And when I was born, they didn't know if I was going to be a boy or a girl at that time. And obviously I came out as a girl, clearly, like in pink here today, And, my dad was dealing with his own stuff and left my mom. And my mom told me that as a young girl, which, we all know you probably should never do that. But I grew up with a lot of limiting beliefs. And then an abusive man lived with us for over a decade, and so I really felt alone a lot. But here's the gift in it all. I had a strange connection to the light when I was a young girl, and I knew something was guiding me and protecting me. And with growing up in that way, my mom working multiple jobs, nothing was ever handed to me. So like, if I wanted to be a great volleyball player, I had to go early in the morning. I had to put in the work, and I'm so grateful for that. Because then when I got presented to start a health and wellness company when I was 23, for me it was like, I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go all in if I'm really going to do this. And so when I started in business, I moved in with my mentor. I slept on a mattress on the floor in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in like the corner of an apartment. I made myself a vision board and got this old desk and started reading personal development books. And that's really, the year where I was in the incubator, really for like 3 years of just like learning the skills.
Emily, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So some people live by default, others by design.
That's right.
And so when you were a young person, as you're describing to me, and Jason, at times default was part of your life. Did you ever fix the blame on anybody? Did you feel like it's somebody else's fault that I'm living by default?
Yeah, of course, especially being young, right? I did. But I also didn't have any other choice. So I was like, I'm gonna make the best of this. I didn't know another way, right? Obviously I'd get exposed to like my friends and their healthy parents and marriage, you know what I mean? And their lifestyles.
Tasted
And
it, right?
yeah, and I was like, I want that. Like that would be so great. But what changed for me is I had a lot of resentment with my dad, and I had this anger inside of me until I was like 26, and I traded expectation for appreciation. And then I really realized, oh my gosh, this is such a gift. I wouldn't be who I am if this didn't happen the way it's supposed to happen.
So just one question that I'm thinking about. So with the challenge with your father, how did you see that like acting out? Was it anger or resentment? How did you act that out towards your dad?
Well, we really didn't have much of a relationship at all. Like I would only see him like once a year, maybe if that. For me, I took on like the alpha female, like independent, all, you know, like that's, but I also had a hard time letting people love me. That was the biggest thing, especially when it came to male relationships, like, or, you know, I really had a hard time with trust and love.
So Emily, when you are going through your life, you have so many people expecting things from you now.
Yeah.
Successful businesses, speaking, writing books. How do you play injured? When you are injured and you don't feel like you're quite yourself, and you wake up and you're in a funk, how well do you play injured, and how do you play injured?
I play really well. I play to win the game, and I'll play injured. However, it starts to like show up in other places. What I mean by that is, and in our time together, you shared something with me that, you know, you need that restoration. You need that quiet time. It's like, you know, if we think of it like Jesus spent so long like by himself restoring, and if I don't do that, I make dumb choices, dumb business decisions. I let people in my life that shouldn't be in my life, that will take advantage, or just not the right, you know, stuff. And so I really have to go back and reassess, like, what did I just do?
Right.
You know, and thank God I have, you know, my partner in life that he'll wake me up to and be like, Emily, this isn't you. Like, what's going on? You know? But I love everybody. But sometimes that, you know, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was telling Jason about this because in his life, he got well known very, very early.
Real fast.
And then the expectations of when someone's expecting this, but you feel this.
Yeah.
How do you play injured?
I mean, look, for so long I masked it, and to your point, Emily, is it didn't work. I mean, for me is where the way I live my life now is I have to have firm boundaries in what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. If I don't put myself, but first of all, I also have my sobriety. If I don't have God and sobriety as the top priority, nothing else is going to fall into place. And so, again, going back to my routine and what I do on a daily basis is imperative on how I'm going to react on through the rest of the day. And so for me, I had to learn that no is a complete sentence, and I had to set boundaries, and I had to be able to not, to not partake in you know, we have quality problems. There's a lot of amazing opportunities and things that come up, and you know, that's where I would constantly, I was a yes person. I was a people pleaser. And I had to do a lot of work in looking into myself in that. Not only did I struggle with addiction, but I also struggled with enabling. I struggled with, you know, codependency issues, which I never thought I had until I really was doing the deep inventory on what I was struggling with. And so for me, I'm not perfect at it. You know, I still run into it. And again, as I'm grateful for the opportunities that persist and that are coming, but again, I go back into prayer. I talk to my wife. I basically create a pause is what I do now. And because trust me, there's today coming in, right? I mean, it's I having allergies, dealing with this. Like, I don't feel 100%, but like, I know, again, but when I commit to something, I give it my full effort. But I also don't, I make sure that I don't overcommit.
I was going to say that because I see it with you, Emily, too, is the importance of relationship. Because I know how close you are with your wife. Your wife is fantastic, and you have your wife who's there for you, and now you have a great relationship. How much is that helping you with your mindset, your mood set, and just the way you're acting out your life.
It helps so much, and we're both very mission driven. So I mean, that's the only reason I'm, we're so aligned. We really are so aligned, and so now it's like we're going, well, what's the mission? Like this, that's literally what I ask myself: does this help the mission or does this hurt the mission?
Yeah.
And that's how I'm making decisions now. But having that partner that you can talk about and pray about, and that'll call you out, that you trust so deeply, it just helps so much.
It really does. And I think it goes back to even your internal circle, Tim, right? Like the thing we've talked about is I actually created a graph, and I think everybody should do this, whether it's in business or your personal life. It's literally, it's a circle, and you put for me, it was my family, and I have a circle around that, looks like an orbit, and I have the 6 people that are in my life that are in my inner circle, and I have another circle of 6 individuals who may ebb and flow out of that. And so I kind of know who that inner circle is, but I also translated that to work. And if that is something that's not a part of where I'm at in my mission in my life right now, it allows me to have a visual to look at and to be able to go, hey, right now I'm not able to do this. It doesn't align with what I'm doing.
Which is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I was so excited when I saw that I was on that list one time. He had this stuff.
You're still there, man. You're still there.
I want you on my list.
But I'm saying, I saw my name written. I'm like, that's a cool list.
Yeah.
But I love how you do that. And I think we need that reminder. Like, what do you get by the fact that he does that? Do you almost want to do that?
I want to do it because life moves fast. Yeah. All of our lives, it moves fast. And if you are not conscious about it, it's like, why are they on the list? They're not really, they shouldn't be, or you know what I mean? Like, is this adding or subtracting?
It creates the pause.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, I got to go back, and I'm like, I'll get back to you. And then it allows me to look, no, I took time and dedication to evaluate what I'm doing in my life right now. This was hours and days and weeks, therapy sessions about what I'm setting up here. I took the time to do that. And unfortunately, it doesn't align right now. Maybe in the future.
Emily, when you think about having a challenging day, what some would call maybe a bad day, okay, and your mindset is not where it should be, do you think it's okay for people to take a day off and just stay home and breathe, or what's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I am not about hustle culture. I'm about working with intelligence and doing what you want to do to move your life forward so you're at a high frequency and being in that state. And so I believe, like, I need a day off. I need a day by the pool, like Sunday, the Sabbath, like let's go all the way. But there's things that happen where if it's a bad thing, where it's a bad business deal, or something just didn't work out, or someone screwed up a deliverable they're supposed to, like, sure, have your moment, but if you let it ruin your whole day and that just starts to happen, that's going to compound over time. And it's like, now you just lost a day, and then you lost a week, and then you lost a month, and then you lost a quarter, and then soon you lost a year. And that's how I've seen people with great freaking potential do nothing with their life. And so for me, I'm like, I'm not going to let this own me. I mean, even yesterday something happened where there was a deal that got a little weird, and we don't even need to get into it. But I had to literally work with one of my dearest friends, and I told her, like, listen, there is about 100 things we are freaking excited about. We are not going to let this one thing pull down our frequency and be on the pity party train. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just really don't tolerate being a victim. Like, I just don't. And you know what? I'm an empath. I feel very deep.
Yes.
And so I've really had to go to work on this.
Well, I want to bring it back. So I think this is a really good conversation. But going back to your journey, right? And as when you went into your your 20s, moving in with your mentor, what were things back then that you did for your mental health and your mental well-being to continue to get to where you're at? And then I'm going to ask you what you do today. But what were you doing in your 20s to navigate that road? And what did that look like? Yeah,
so I never went to college. So I grew up real fast, and I was bored after high school of like, what would I do to compete? And so I competed in Fitness America. So I started eating clean, like understanding nutrition, the human body straight away. So working out for me, like sometimes at that point, not anymore, but like twice a day at some points. But what I did for my mental health is I just put myself into situations, like instead of going out and partying. Like I never did that. Like it disrupted my spirit. So I wasn't at parties and all that stuff, again, because I grew up super fast. And so I would go on walks a lot with people. And, for me, like the reading aspect of it is huge. Visualization, anything to do with personal development, like total nerd over here. I unplugged my TV when I started growing, and I put my affirmations all over it. So I am beautiful, I am worthy, because I had to really, really go to work on that. I had a lot of limiting beliefs around self-worth, like a lot. So I went to work on it. So those are the kind of things I did. And like just eating healthy, it's high frequency. So anything that would uplift my frequency, I did it. Again, the prayer, the music, not even watching bad films. I don't like to put myself in that state. Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
When did you start talking about or sharing about what you went through? And what did that do for you?
Man, it was like when I was like 25, 26. So like it was so hard at first because I was doing well in business and my ego was like, no. Like you don't want people to see you in that light. And then as I grew and even grew my faith deeper, I'm like, no, you must share this. And I remember the first time I did, I was just like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, but I need to do this, but I'm so embarrassed, but I need to. It was like this, what are people going to think? And it was like, that changed the room. That, because I was trying to improve sales and improve sales teams and going in there. And I'm like, why are they going to open up like if I don't open up?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what was the response you got?
Oh, crying, standing ovation. People didn't care what I did in business. They cared like, am I real? And that was the most freeing moment ever, where I was like, I don't need to wear a mask. Like mask off. I'm done. And it set me on a path
No, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So we're talking about changing your brain. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that people should look to be cured, fixed, or just get better? What are your thoughts on that? With the mindset of how they're feeling.
Yeah.
If somebody is battling today that's watching with depression, anxiety, something in the area of mental health, brain health, should they look to get fixed overnight, or does it take a little bit of time?
Oh, baby, it takes time. Anything worthwhile, you got to crock pot that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to...
Tell us about that. 'Cause I love that.
We live in a microwave society. So everyone is like, can I have this done now, overnight, And so I think the first thing is awareness. It's going, hello, this is an issue. And that, like, kudos to you if you're willing to go, this is problematic, right? Anytime that something comes up for me that is unhealthy, I tell someone I trust and love. And I'm like, can you pray for me? Can we talk about this? I'm struggling with XYZ. There was a moment where I struggled with eating, with food, with an eating disorder. And I was like, I got to tell someone because this is not going to get better.
Was it difficult to tell your partner that I'm not all together? Because when people meet each other at first and we start dating, we try to act like we have it more together than maybe we do.
Oh, of course people
So tell us about having to be vulnerable with the tall guy that's good looking that you're with.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's all about depth. I don't like surface levels. I just want to go, like, let's just be real or not at all. I'd rather be alone or real in the depth of it in all my relationships, right? But that's, I'm with my best friend, like, and so I'm going to tell him the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. But I just feel like if you have someone that you're close to, if you're with someone, you should be able to be like, hey, today I'm struggling with this. Otherwise, you're in a very superficial relationship. And that goes for girlfriends, guy friends, all friends. Like, I don't got time for that, right?
No, 100%. Is your for mental health and physical health, do you take care of them both the same? Or put as much effort into both?
Yeah, yes, because leadership is the whole being. It's spiritual. It's your physicality. It's mindset. It's the whole essence. And
so what because a lot of people, you'd be surprised, some people don't understand how you can actually perform and what it is you do for mental well-being, right? You'd be shocked how many people don't understand. They understand the concept, what is mental health? Like, you'd be surprised. What do you do for mental health? What do you do for your mental strength?
This is major. It's so elementary, but major. I am not on my cell phone all the time. I used to be very unhealthy with that, but there is times where, I'm done at a certain time and it's like it's plugged in. We're on airplane mode. I'm not on Instagram the whole time. Like, I have people to do that for me now, things like that. And so that has helped immensely, because half of it's just like we're collecting energy from other people all day long on our phones.
So true.
And I feel like when I have that freedom from the phone, that's when I'm creative. I can write. That's when I'm in gratitude. If I'm on Instagram all day, like some people are that can relate to this, it's an addiction. All you're doing is trying to like keep up with the Joneses or look at other people's stuff. And so that's major for me, improving my mental health, meditation.
Jason, I think that was powerful what you said, because when you are watching TikTok and Instagram, Facebook and all that, I didn't used to. No, I don't do TikTok.
Tim is TikTok.
But I watch it sometimes to see such silliness that people are up to. Yeah, like what's trending.
For sure.
But when she talks about this energy exchange, that is so real. Because you can be watching somebody and their energy comes in, you're like, how did that happen? I didn't try to let you in.
Exactly.
Well, like social media to me is antisocial. It goes back to like the longest living study at Harvard is around happiness, and that's through human connection. And so it's like you look at the world we live in today, and there's such a false perception of connection. And when we in the treatment world and mental health, and you're seeing people that are more stimulated in a virtual reality versus real reality, there's an issue. And so that's something to really look at when you're treating and seeing these younger demographic. There's a lot of young kids that can't carry conversation, and it's something to be alarmed by. And you wonder why the person's on 13 medications, and you wonder why they had suicide attempts. It's like something to look at. Again, as I'm not against technology, I think there's amazing things that can come from it, but it's also a mindful component to it. With you, we basically are on our phones from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're turned in. Sundays we don't have phones. And we've implemented that with our kids because we want them to see, because we emulate that, right? We're so worried about the younger generation, but guess what? It starts with us as parents.
That's so true.
And so
That's very powerful.
We have to set that example. And so when my daughter, and it resonated, I really was working, she's like, Dad, like, get off your phone. And I was like, holy, a 4-year-old just totally called me out. I'm like, dude, this is not. And it was really, I was working. I wasn't sitting there mindlessly going through stuff. And I've faulted in all those areas, but I think that really can bring some context to a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here, and because what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, 100%. Right? And so it's important, like you said. I think it was beautifully how you said that. Because of you not being on social media, you're able to write, you're able to get in gratitude, you're able to go walk, exercise, do meditate, all the different things that come from that. Those are things that you can do for your mental health, and it's. Again, different strokes, different folks, but I think it's being able to identify and to understand that all the way down to nutrition. And there's just so much you can be doing on a daily basis. Those little steps that you can take to better yourself. And it's not like you're saying about do you need to fix your mental health or your whatever it is that you're struggling with. You need to fix it overnight. No, I think like if you set the expectation too high, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you haven't gone to the gym in a year, right? And you're gonna say, I'm gonna go 3 times, 4 times a week, dude. Let's just start by putting your shoes by the front door.
That's
okay.
So
like
good.
let's not try to. Because if you don't meet that expectation, you're just kind of like, I'm back to square one. At least that's how I operate, right? And so it's like I just slowly try to incorporate and implement that. It's more of like it's a reduction, right? It's like, hey, what are some of the things that I'm not doing that I can slowly incorporate and giving yourself grace. Like oftentimes we're the hardest on ourselves. And I think
100%.
Okay, I have one last question for you. Innocence. I think a lot of people lose their innocence because of things that happen in their childhood or even as teenagers, how have you been able to either regain your innocence in your mind or keep your innocence?
You mean like having like childlike wonder?
Childlike wonder, yes,
Yeah.
because when I talk to little kids, like I could be in a third world nation, and I'll
Yeah.
say, "What do you want to be when you get older?"
Oh my God.
And they're like 5, and they say, "An astronaut,"
Yeah.
or "I'm going to be a queen." So if there was ever a time you lost your innocence in your mind and your wonder, how'd you get it back?
Yeah.
Or how have you maintained it?
I love this so much. I'm a dreamer. I think because when I was little, I escaped my reality a lot.
Okay.
And so it's such a gift because I could just like fantasize all day long and like dream about my dreams and think about them and then see them and like, so I do that a lot. Like I'll put on a good song and just like, it's like, what is she doing? She's, she's just being happy and getting in and allowing myself to go there. And so I like leave reality and I just go there. And so that's what I do a lot to keep that innocence, to keep dreaming. And I guard the gates of my mind and my focus a lot. My purpose is too great. My calling's too great. And I want to heal. I just want to continue to heal so I can teach others how to heal. And it's like leadership is example. So I'm like, okay, the more I can heal and understand that trauma and what happened, like I can teach someone else. And so like that really is just what keeps me in the zone. And I don't do a lot of like extra random stuff that's not about purpose and intention. And for some people that might be kind of dramatic, but it's like, I'm just not into it.
It's a great answer.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So in closing, for me, I have 2 things. One, what would you say to those right now that are, in the depths of dealing with their mental health issues, anxiety, depression, the fears? What would you say to them? And then secondly, I'd love to ask you an action for the day that somebody could do and actually incorporate into their day to better themselves.
I would tell you to get on your knees. And I always share, like, you can either be broken or broken open. And it's time just to break open. And you're so loved. You're so loved. You don't need to prove anything. You're not your past mistakes. And that's something like as a sister, like I had so much shame for what I didn't do to me. With, yeah, I carried that and it wasn't my doing and it's not yours either. And you're not your past mistakes. So get on your knees and just pray. And from there, like, take action. And you shared this so beautifully yesterday about the law of the environment and who you're around, and you just need one good person.
Yeah.
One good person, or drive somewhere for help. And this is how it was when I struggled with eating. I remember when it would happen, I was like, I want to get help. And then when I was better, I was like, I'm good. And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go to counseling because I'm so good right now. But I was like, no, that's actually when I need to continue going because we're not there yet.
Oh, yeah.
And so seek out counsel. And when because it's not over. Like it comes in waves, different parts of our trauma and drama. And so for me, it's like getting involved in a good Bible-based church has been game changer. And when I was in LA and I was going through a divorce, I felt so freaking like crazy in the head for a little bit. As a public person too, you're like, people are calling. I'm like, it's none of your business. It was crazy. And you want to throw that person under the bus, the whole thing. And the only thing I could do, and I said this to my girlfriend, I was like, here's what I am literally going to just get involved in a community. And so I just got involved in a church and I went to Africa. And you don't need to go to Africa, but you should if you can. And I just saw a different world. And I saw the little kids and their faces. And we did a school and helped them. And I just was like, you know what? You don't got it that bad, Em.
Yeah.
Like, let's just continue.
I love that.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. And I just appreciate your rawness, your openness, and your vulnerability, you know, because so many people are going through this on a daily basis. And so, but if people want to find out more about you, where can they find you or the podcast? And
It's Emily. Like, literally, it's Emily. Come and join me on Instagram or meetemily.ford.com. Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else, Tim?
It's Emily.
Stop.
It's a wrap.
It's Tim. It's just...